you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. I'm Deborah. This is Purusha Intuitive, and we're going to look at what Purusha is today. So if you are familiar, I love everything health and wellness, mind, body, soul, and especially from a more holistic, natural perspective. I really believe that we can achieve fulfillment, living a happy life without all the gimmicks and, I don't know, like sometimes I feel like we force ourselves, we end up stressing ourselves out way more by the limitation, the restriction, the instant fixes, etc. And what I love so much about Ayurveda is it has this whole system built that if we incorporate it on a daily basis, it really helps us live a vibrant and fulfilling life. Studying human anatomy and physiology, I'm sure you guys have seen how beautiful and intricate the body is woven together. From those impulses that leave our brain going to the right spot at the right time, any type of hormone secretion, muscle contractions, our digestive system, our body knows exactly what to do at the right point in time, which is like so dope, right? I mean, we don't even have to think about the majority of this stuff. And we usually don't until we get sick or something happens. And, I do believe that, and Ayurveda shows, it confirms that there is a way to support our body, our mind, and soul in this day-to-day living. So it is preventative medicine. It does help curb away from bringing in disease. From my perspective, disease is blocked energy. So we think about this concept of Purusha. Purusha translates pure, meaning city, and Shita, meaning dwelling. One of my favorite Ayurvedic doctors, Dr. Vasant Lad, talks about how the body is the city dwelling of all of the senses. So think about that. All of our different senses, sight, sound, taste, touch, hearing. That sound. I knew I was going to repeat one. I was like trying really hard not to. But part of connecting with, obtaining this idea of pure consciousness, complete awareness, is by having incredibly pure senses, because our senses are what take in the information. And then our body is the vehicle that figures out what needs to go where and how. That is why it is not just important to, eat well, exercise 100%, but there's so much more to what it means to live a healthy life. It's actually a daily practice, which I don't know if that sounds fun or not. I think health and well-being can be really challenging, but I also feel it's like a never-ending journey. It's like one of those things that we're going to have with us through our whole life. There's always going to be different things that we have to combat. And what I think is so amazing about this concept of Purusha, it is the pure potential. It is the unmanifest potential. And it is within all of us, within all of our cells, at the deepest layer of our being. And all we have to do is enliven them. It sounds really simplistic, right? And maybe it is a little bit oversimplified. I'm a huge believer in quantum physics, in the unified field, and Maharishi Mahesh, the founder of Maharishi Ayurveda, speaks to how anything we put our awareness, our consciousness towards will naturally be enlivened. It's going to be heightened. Just like that concept of the law of attraction, like attracts like. Where we put our time, where we put our energy, it's going to attract that same energy, that same dynamic. Just like if, we're sitting on the couch, binge watching any platform that's available nowadays, eating a bunch of junk food, we can't really expect to stay healthy and well. There are going to be side effects from that style of living. It reminds me a lot of that concept in physics, if you remember, back in high school, a body in motion stays in motion. Now, I do believe there is that fine balance. We need the rest. We need the restoration in order for our body to heal, to find balance. That's why we all know sleep is so important. It's so important to get a good night's rest, to go to bed before midnight, 10 o'clock ideally, so that we're not, again, overextending ourselves. Our body goes into a completely different style of processes during our evening sleep, right? And ones that it needs in order to regain balance so that we can be living at the optimal levels. No one wants disease. Disease happens when things consistently don't work. It's like something getting stuck in a gear. It's going to eventually stop and break or rust, and then it won't move at all. And that's a very similar concept with how disease ends up manifesting, especially from that energetic standpoint, into our physical body. So just like I was saying with that concept of Purusha, we can also enliven the not so good things. If we think of Purusha in context to the unified field, this big pool of unmanifest potential, we know that we can enliven the good, the positive, the life honoring, and we know we can enliven the stuff that brings resistance and tension and struggle and pain. But therein lies the difference between living a life of happiness and fulfillment. Yes, we can overindulge in the not so good things. They might make us feel really good for the moment and time. But once that instant gratification is over and done with, we're left to pick up the pieces. And if we do it enough times, it can cause a lot of blockage. It can cause a lot of, like I said, that tension and struggle. And hopefully when it becomes unbearable, that's when we move back to the healing, the enlivening. What I love about Ayurveda, as I mentioned earlier, is it provides a platform for us to integrate wellness in a daily way. That if we have a routine, a systematic way of integrating with the natural cycles of life, it's actually going to maximize everything around us. I've never been a huge self-care person. I am very on the go. I like to do and make things happen. Self-care has definitely been something I've had to learn over the years. And I was afraid, right? I was actually afraid of having too much to do, too much in my routine where I wouldn't be able to get these seemingly more important things done. But what I ended up realizing through the practice of having a morning routine, getting up on time, going to bed on time, eating at the right times of day, doing my meditation twice a day, making time for my yoga asanas or getting outside, whatever it was, it actually ended up maximizing the time that I had to do my other stuff, which sounds so counterintuitive. But when we are purifying, when we are cleansing, our energy, our physiology through self-care, we're actually refining it where we become a little bit more intelligent, more creative, more living in the flow, making better decisions, etc. It's just everything kind of naturally falls into place because that's where our body wants to be, right? In this natural, harmonious functioning. It's when there's the tension, the stress, the anxiety, the fears, the discord. That's when our physiology is really telling us that something's off, that something's out of place, you know, whether we're overworking, we're not consuming something that's good for us, we're spending too much time in front of the TV. You know, there's a myriad of things. Everyone, it's going to be different because we all gravitate towards what's more pleasurable. That's just how the mind is. And that can be, you know, a great thing if we're putting healthy habits in its place. It just can also be very destructive when we end up getting caught up in the things that just aren't really life honoring. And I know some of this stuff is way easier said than done. It's like any other thing. We have to practice. We have to self-study what works best for ourselves, what doesn't work for us. We really have to listen to our own body, our own physiology, our mind, our soul. And that can make it challenging because there's a lot of different opinions about wellness, what wellness should look like nowadays. And the quick fixes are quite alluring, right? Like it is kind of like, ooh, you know, like I want that liposuction. I want that, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, obviously there's always ups and downs to everything, right? There's always the things that are going to help. And then it's also going to pull out the stuff that might cause more tension or discord, etc. So all that to say, back to this idea of Purusha, it is the remembrance that our body, it's regenerative, it's constantly working for us. We have so much untapped potential that we don't utilize. You know, we're so used to limited stages of consciousness, you know, just being very like in the waking, sleeping, dreaming states, when there's the ability to transcend, to purify, to give our body the highest and best opportunity to live its most purest potential. We're going to dive into all those different ways at this channel. I hope you enjoyed this short video on Purusha. I definitely encourage you to look into it. It's such a beautiful concept. Sanskrit is an amazing language. There's so many layers to it. And it really actually does help enliven our wellness the more that we even just pay attention. All we have to do is think about something, do a little research. It's going to naturally put our physiology in this place that it's healing, right? Any attention we put towards something allows our body to heal. So thank you again, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Drop any questions below. Definitely give a big thumbs up. Let's build and grow the community. I'm sending all the love, all the blessings your way. Have a great day.